Hey guys, it's Karsh from OneTap. In this video, I will be showing you how to add surveys to your check-in process. So we already went through, or we already made videos about how to do registrations, how to import profiles, and then we already talked about how to do check-ins, for example, with the different check-in methods. So for example, specifically whenever you create a check-in process, it really comes down into, do you want visitors to do the check-ins on the visitor side, or do you want to do the check-ins on your side as the admin? So we talked about how to do check-ins on using the public check-in link, the visitor app, the individual QR passes, as well as the iPad kiosk and the SMS. So we're going to be talking about how to add surveys into the check-in process, because that's going to customize it. So why would you want to add surveys into the check-in process? You'd want to add surveys if you, for example, want to ask them questions. So let's say, for example, maybe if you're like running an event, you want to ask them, how did you find out about us? Or how many people are you, like a group size of 5, group size of 10, who's coming along with you? Maybe you want to ask them, for example, if you're running a membership program, you want to ask them, for example, maybe like a review, or maybe like, hey, how are you liking the experience so far? Or it could also be in the checkout process. You could ask them that, like, what did you think of today's event? Did you like it? And then yeah, there's just a lot of different things you can add over there as part of the survey questions. And I'll show you how our survey builder is pretty dynamic, where you can ask them different you can ask them questions and get different types of responses, like for example, numbers, dates, yes or no values, or like a list of values. So yeah, let's dig into it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the dashboard first. So this is what the dashboard looks like. And you definitely want to create a list and watch the other videos if you haven't seen so on how to create profiles, how to create lists. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and create an event right now. Let's just call it a community art class. Okay, it's just for like our community, maybe it's just like a free art class that we're throwing, right? And we're just gonna say to track how many people came for the art class event. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a date. So we're gonna say like it's gonna start, for example, at 9 p.m. my time, and hit continue. It's the first place that we start, and we just want to allow check-ins right now. We're not doing checkouts. Well, as part of the create process, it asks you if you, for example, how people would want to check in. So for example, if we go back to that page, it's gonna do test, and then go over here. It's gonna ask you how people check in, so you can put the survey as one of the check-in methods. But if you already have created a list, what you can do is you can go over here and you can go to the list settings button, and like the list settings page, and over here you can just set the check-in method to survey. And it's gonna say, okay, there's a survey builder right there. If you go back to this page, it's gonna say this list doesn't have any survey questions, let's add some. But we're gonna go back to the settings page and we're gonna hit survey builder. We can start adding survey questions here. So let's say if we want to ask them, how did you hear about us? And for example, we want to give it a list of options, so we can say something like, okay, well, like it's like a predefined list. So here are the different types, right? You got multiple choice questions, you got free response, like a number value, phone number, yes or no, date, time, signature, and information. Information is literally just like it's just like an information text. They don't have to do anything with it. They don't have to answer anything. It's just like, for example, we could say something like, for example, maybe our prices are the following, blah, 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 blah. It's just information. They can just kind of read over it and acknowledge it. We're gonna do multiple choice right here. So we're gonna say something like, okay, maybe you heard about us through Facebook, right? And then Instagram. You heard about us through maybe like friends, and then you can always just say, for example, you can say other, etc. Right? So we're just gonna add. We're gonna make this question. We can make it required as well. Like we want people to answer it. This is like a must. This is like a must answer. And then I'm gonna, for example, give some other options here. So like, for example, like what type of art do you like? Okay, and that's just a free response question. And then we're gonna go through a few more. So for example, like number, maybe we can tell people, hey, if you have like a maybe like a guess a number between 1 to 10, or to assign you to a group. So we can say to assign you to a random group, guess a number between 1 through 5. Okay. So you can put the description here as well. You can, for example, over here, we can just say guess a number like guess a number could just be the question, and then to assign you to a random group, we to assign you to a random group based on or it could be, for example, for like a raffle prize too, right? So that could also be another one, right? So for example, to assign you to a random group, or we can just say to us for raffle prizes, guess any number less than 50, right? Okay, so we just say that we just made that question required. So that's one example. Then another one that we can do is like phone number. It's like, for example, if you want to do some lead collection, like you want to ask people what is a good phone number for like if you want to opt in. So if we can say something like your phone number. If you wish to hear about future events that we throw, right? And we can make that not required. That's like a great example of a question that's like optional. And then yes, no, for example, like we can say like, have you painted before? That's a yes, no. So and we can, for example, explain over here. We can say, for example, like at like does not have to be anything professional. It can be a hobby, right? And then afterwards, let's say, for example, let's just go through a few more. We got like date, time. So we can ask people, for example, for signatures. We can also ask people for dates and like, for example, date that that they have to pick. So as an example right here, it's like if you have visited us before, when was that? So like that's gonna be the description, and you can say last visit date. And that's like an optional question. So that's just to know, hey, if it's like a repeating person or if it's like the first time thing. Just an example here, I'm just kind of going off. You might not have like a survey that's this big, especially for an event, just to make the check-in process faster. But if you do want to collect more information, especially because these questions are not required, yeah, you can just put them in there. Signature, for example, if you did have like some sort of like for example, like I agree to the privacy policy. For example, I have a privacy policy, you agree to our privacy policy regarding communication with emails and phone. So that's an example, right? Or if it's like, for example, like something that requires like a little bit of a legal waiver, something like that. So yeah, and then I would probably recommend just how did you hear about us, put in the description here. So like you can probably just put something in the question here that just says like, for example, source, or maybe like campaign or something like that, you know, for example, like marketing info. How did you hear about my art studio? Marketing question. Okay, and then so what we'll do is we'll just make the so we made the survey right now. Now if we go back to the survey builder, we'll be able to see all these questions. Now if we go back over here, the survey is attached to this list. Now we want to start a check-in process. So I've already made a video about how to do check-in processes using different visitor side or the admin side. If you want to do self check-in, or if you want to be the person that does the check-in. I'm gonna start off with the dashboard and the admin side because if we're doing this on the computer, this is just how we would do it. So we already talked about how to do profiles, how to create a database. So let's do an example right now. If someone shows up and they're already in my database, let's just say, for example, or let's just say that they're a walk-in. So I'm gonna say, for example, George just walked in. I'm gonna just create this profile right now, and then I've already created the profile, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna hit the check-in button, and the first thing that I'm gonna see on the dashboard is all the survey questions, like the questions that we've designed. So we can answer them right here. For example, if we have a computer, we can just show it to the client, or to the customer, and we can be like, hey, can you please fill this out? But a little bit of a better way to do this is honestly using the public check-in link, because that's like the one that people really prefer, because this ends up being like the one that everyone gravitate towards. So we're gonna hit the share check-in link button, and here's where we get the unique link for our event. We've already made a lot of videos about this. You can print this QR code, put it up on the wall. You can send it to people over SMS or like WhatsApp groups, email campaigns, etc. So when they open the link, this is what they're gonna see. This is on their window, okay? So this is what they're gonna see right now. So this is on the visitor side. So they would come over here, they would type for their name, they would find it. So like maybe if it's like an art studio, maybe they've already been there before, right? For example, like they already have a profile with us. So for example, they can just find their name, or they can just register. So like if we kind of reload the link right here, we can go ahead and type in, for example, like a name, Brianna. And what we can do is we can just say Brianna, and then we can hit register. They can fill out the optional information. We made a video about how to use customized registration forms. So over here, what you can do is, yeah, they're gonna hit check-in. So they've already created a profile, they've already registered. So they're gonna show up on the profiles database now. So if we reload this, we're gonna be able to see Brianna's name as soon as Yeah, there it is right there. And it's going to tell us that this profile was created on September 18th at 7:42 p.m. So we're going to go over here and we're going to say check-in. So as part of the check-in process for that list, now it's going to ask them all these questions. So it's going to ask a marketing question. Okay, how did you hear about my studio? We're going to say Facebook. What type of art do you like? We can say something like oil painting. Guess a number. So for example, they can go over here, they can guess like, yeah, any number like less than 50. So that's where all the description and stuff goes. I'm gonna say like maybe 25, 24. Your cell phone number, they can put in the phone number right there. Have you painted before? We can say like, yeah, I painted before. And like the last time I visited you guys was maybe September 1st, right? And then the privacy policy, this is where Brianna can sign. And yeah, easy as that. We hit continue. And there it is, we're checked in. So she can also leave a note right here as well, like, I'm so happy. Thanks for hosting this class. So they can like leave notes like that. And if we go back to our dashboard, now we're talking about the admin side. So we click on the community art class, like the list that we created. All of a sudden we start seeing the survey responses here in the analytics. So we click on Brianna's profile and then all of a sudden we can see, so this is when Brianna's added into a list. So she's registered and she's checked in because we got that mark right there, and then the check-in date. As you can see, the notes right there, it says, I'm so happy, thanks for hosting this class on a Sunday. And then here we got the marketing questions and then all that information from the link. So the first half of the stuff is just stuff related to profiles. Now this is related to check-ins, and then it says here's the link that she's used, and like here's all the information about the check-in. Now the survey responses are going to be over here, so that's all the stuff that we filled out, like the last visit date and all that. And then what we can do is we can also download this data in Excel, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. So the survey data is going to be available in the full report because it shows you all the check-ins. These reports consolidate the data, like profiles report and I believe list report as well. It aggregates check-ins data, so that's not going to have individual check-in data, but the single list report will definitely have it. So we can go ahead and select the community art class as the event and hit continue and download. So I'm going to show you guys what that looks like, and then we can kind of dig into the Excel. But I guess before we dig into the Excel file, it's worth talking about survey check-in process. How does that work whenever we use different check-in methods, like especially the iPad kiosk, because that also seems to be pretty popular because people love to just use their iPad to just create a check-in process. Then you have individual passes, that's also super popular. Then you got visitor app and you got SMS. The SMS doesn't support the check-ins at the moment. The iOS app and the dashboard is pretty much similar. So for example, we can go over to the iOS app and click on the community art class, and we can do, this is the behind the desk mode. This is what the admin that you would see, and we can take someone, for example, we can find someone off our list. We can be like, hey, yeah, for example, Isabel is here, she's on my profiles. I can just click on Isabel now, and it's going to start the survey process, like the same exact stuff as before. We're going to say friends, say what type of art do you like, anything, guess a number, 21, cell phone number, have you painted before? All these are optional, so basically we can hit continue and check Isabel in. And then the survey question responses is where you can see it over here. So you're gonna be able to see the location, you're gonna be able to see the survey question responses inside the survey data right there. So check in survey data. And this section might change a little bit with our future updates, but at the moment this is what it looks like. So and then like it's gonna be the exact same thing on the iOS app as well. Now talking about the kiosk, this is pretty popular among self check-in methods. So we already made a whole video about how you can customize the kiosk, how you can change the colors and all that. But once you have the kiosk, what you can do is over here, it's going to say enter your name to continue. And this is where your people, so for example, if we go over here into the settings, there's a setting where you can allow all the names to show up. So we can just say, yeah, search for name, public QR code, all that is enabled, and we can say not roughly matches a name, we can say everyone, just show me everyone that's in the profiles database. And this is like the default view. If for privacy reason, you can obviously hide that, but for this example here, without delving too much into the kiosk settings, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna say, okay, yeah, so I'm coming in as Steven, right? And I hit continue, and then all of a sudden I see all the lists here where I can do the check-ins. I'm gonna hit the community art class, register and check-in, and then bam, I'm prompted to the survey questions. So I can fill this out. I can say, okay, yeah, I heard you guys about, I heard about the studio through Instagram. The art, I like pencil drawings. And then select a number, 17. Have you painted before? Yeah. Last visit date, I can say, okay, yeah, I was here like August 18th. Sign here, so they can also sign over there as well. And yeah, hit continue, and easy as that, we've checked in. Remember that you can also pin the kiosk to a specific list. I also covered that in a specific video, so you can be like, hey, I only have one class going on, even though I got other lists going on. I don't want people to be distracted or go through that extra step, so that's gonna be allowed as well. So you just hit, and then you can turn off group check-ins, because that's why I'm seeing the option to check in multiple people at once. You turn that off, and that way it's just like literally like a one person check-in process, so it's like super fast. So for example, Anthony, to register and check in, easy as that, and then all of a sudden we see all the questions here as well. Yeah, so let's fill this out one more time, and then hit continue. So we got a few people's data, and if you have the iOS app, the admin app, you can always like just kind of pull to refresh, and you can see what's going on. Hey, who's checked in where, and remember, you can also like go to the activities tab right here, and you can also look at all the activities that are going on inside your organization across multiple events. So I can click on Anthony, and I can see all the data here. I can see the survey questions here as well, and then what's filled out. And then on the dashboard right here, I'm gonna go ahead and do export attendance, and I'm gonna hit the download button, and I'm gonna get that attendance report, and we can dig into that. So we talked about how to set up a survey on the dashboard, and then how the visitors are going to fill out the survey on the admin side if we do it for them, or if the visitors do it themselves using the public check-in link as well as the iPad kiosk. The individual passes and QR codes, what happens is that the check-in process is done by you, so it's exactly going to be it's pretty much going to be the same thing, but what you do is that you give them a pass, which I covered in a different video. So you send them a pass. So for example, like Laura, for example, right, here's her pass. I can send it to her, and she's going to get that public link, which is what she's going to see. This is what she's going to see, and then she's going to save it to Apple Wallet or save it as a photo, and you're basically just going to be scanning that using the dashboard or the iOS admin app. So she can click on the tap to scan here button, or if you're using an iPhone and you want to do it for them, you can hit the pass scanner right here, and you're going to get the camera that's going to scan the pass, and pretty much right after that you're just going to have the exact same flow as the rest of the as like the admin as like the kiosk flow. So just to do an example, I'm going to pull up the iPad, like the real iPad device, and I'm going to do a screen share just so you guys can see what it would look like on a real device, because these devices don't have cameras attached to them. So right over here, I have the iPad, like a real iPad that's running the OneTap app. So they're gonna go over here, they're gonna select the name, but to do this passes specifically, what I've done is I've pulled up the pass that the visitor would have on their phone. And let's do an example where I add it to Apple Wallet just to make it a little bit more interesting. So this is what it looks like now. I hit the add to Apple Wallet button, and then this is what the pass is looking like right now. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here, we're gonna hit the tap to scan here button, that button right there on the kiosk. Now it's on the self-facing side, and here I got the camera pulled up, and as soon as I scan the QR code pass, I'm gonna be literally in the same screen that we saw, where they can select the course, and over here I'm just gonna hit art class, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be prompted with questions. If I did again, yeah, like the same as before, if I want to pin it to a specific list, I'm going to say, hey, I'm only running one event right now, which is the community art class. I'm not really worried about the other events. And so let's do the whole process over from the beginning. Find the name for Laura. It found it because it's Laura's pass. And then hit check-in, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be filling out the information. So to do that one more time, leave all these blank. Yep, that's it. So we do the check-in like that. We're gonna be able to, as soon as we go ahead and like reload this page, so sorry, we go back to the lists, we go back in the community art class, we should be able to reload it, and we should be able to see all the different check-ins that have taken place. And I can go ahead and download the report. So one more time, hit the download button, and let's dig into what the reports are gonna look like. As you download the report, we're gonna see all the different names of all the people that have checked in, and then we're gonna see the check-in codes. So, well, these are all the custom fields and all the different primary fields that are part of that person's profile. So for example, notes and all that, that you've typed. Over from here, we're going to start to see the check-in column. So like, hey, have they checked in, yes or no? And we can see that one person, for example, who was on that list has not checked in. So that's going to be, if we reload this, it's going to be the person that is yeah, this person right here, George. So afterwards, what we do is we will like go through the other columns. So you got like other favorite is another custom field basically. We got added at and then like the check-in date, which is like the most important one. So this is like when the check-in took place. This is like in your time zone based on the formatting. And then it's got like the checkout information. Since we didn't do any checkouts, we don't have to worry about it. The check-in device, all that stuff is like where the check-in took place, and then the IP address and all that is just like other information that's just tracked. Now here's where the survey questions are at, right? Like it's got for example like the marketing question that people filled out. What type of art do you like? That's also filled out right here. And then here's the lucky number as well, or the number that they guess. And then have you painted before? When was the last time you visited us, if they fill that out. And then the privacy policy, the signature is basically on that file right there. And then it's got like other information that's related to, I believe it's just related to other custom fields that's on the account. And then the check-in notes as well. One person typed in a check-in note, that's here as well. Now that's just like the check-in data, right? Now how do we look at the checkout process? It's exactly the same as the check-in process, exactly the same. You just turn on checkouts and you say survey again, and you can ask other questions such as like, how did you like the class today? And we can say multiple choice answer, so we can say like great, amazing, okay. And you can also use emoji. That's also going to be like a like a cool way to do it. Great, amazing, okay, average. And yeah, so basically now if we do the checkouts, you can click on the check-in thing again, and it's going to go to the checkout right here, and that's going to ask you for the survey questions. And then on the iPad as well as the like on the iOS app as well, it's exactly the same process. We just literally do the same thing that we did for check-in. Click on it again, and then the how would you do it, amazing, continue. And that's gonna keep track of the checkout, check-in, checkout time, and then it's gonna also keep track of those checkout survey data. And it's exactly the same as before on the kiosk as well. So for example, if you find someone that has already checked in, so let's say for example, go back to the list, we can see that Steven has already checked in. So search for your name, Steven, check in, or in this case, for example, since we kind of like changed the list check-in method, we just want to like exit the kiosk mode and re-enter again, because that forces all the data to refresh for your list. And we go over here and we can do Steven, and then yeah, select the same community art class, and then it's going to say checkout, and yeah, how would you rate the class? Great, done, continue. That's it. So simple as that, like the exact same way that we did check-ins. It's just how you do checkouts. And then if we go ahead and do export attendance again and look at the Excel file, what we can see here is that if we go over to the to this column right here, how would you rate the class today, we can see the checkout data. And we can also see checkout data right here as well. Like if you hit the format and autofit column width, you can start to see checkout dates as well. So when that person's checked out, if they've checked out yes or no, more information about how they checked out using the iPhone, the kiosk, or the dashboard. And then the survey questions are going to be right here as well. So how would you rate the class today? Yeah, so it's easy as that. That's how you do check-ins and checkouts using survey questions. The visitor app pretty much follows like the same exact stuff as the public check-in link. Make sure to check that out. And yeah, so today we covered how to add surveys to the check-in process. Now there are some more advanced things inside surveys we'll make like a specific videos about. For example, if you wanted to, so the other thing is that if you wanted to, for example, show an information question, you could do that here as well. So for example, like you just wanted to make a statement there. It's like we are now at maybe 100 members. So that's something that you could also add in there, and you can make this an information question. It's just like for information purposes. You don't really have to fill anything out. That's going to be shown on the check-in process whenever people go through it. So that's also something that's that's cool. That you can add in there. There is also pre-registration survey, which is for people who are registering. That's like the survey questions as well, but that's part of the registration form, and that's something that's actually a little bit of a different process. That's on the registration link over here. If you go over here and you share a registration link for a class, this is for a check-in survey, so that's something to be clear about. And then Another thing that's actually really cool is that you can reference custom fields inside survey to make it more dynamic. So let's do an example right here. This is actually a pretty unique way to use OneTap. It's a little bit like, yeah, it's just a little bit like, it's just to kind of automate some more extra stuff. So for example, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna add in table numbers for people. So that's also like, for example, I'm gonna assign like table number, and I'm gonna say, this is like a text value. And I'm gonna say, for example, Brittany is at table number 3, okay? And then Anthony's at table number 2. And what you can do is, this is also something that's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit like, it's a little bit extra if you wanted to add some more kind of automation to the, like, you know, the check-in process. So for example, we could say, we could delete this question right here, and we could just say something like, your table number is, and then put in the bracket right there, and then you can select it, and then you can just say this is an information field, so we're not really trying to collect any information right there. And let's just do an example where we just what we do is we, yeah, just add that right there. And then now if we start the check-in process, for example, if we share the link again, get people to download it, and let's go over here and let's just do a check-in as Brittany, whose table number is 3. Continue, register and check-in, and see, it says your table number is 3. So that's also kind of cool. You can add like custom field information over there, so you can imagine like you can put in information about where they're sitting, or maybe just specific information about their profile into the check-in process, and then the iPad should also follow like the same exact logic there. Yeah, let us know what you think about the survey questions, how it can be improved, or maybe just how you personally use it. We're going to be posting this video on the community page.